The following program is paid for by Lifespan Wealth Management, providing financial advice since 1993. At Lifespan Wealth Management, the main thing they do is provide retirement planning and advice and manage their clients' investment accounts. If you're looking for a financial advisor, contact their office at 478-922-8100 to set up your complimentary consultation. Lifespan Wealth Management has offices in Macon and Warner Robins for your convenience, and you can learn more about them by visiting their website at retirerelax.com. While you're on the site, visit the special report section, which provides great financial education information on many different topics. You can also sign up to receive their digital feeds, which are short videos providing great information relevant to retirement, investing, and matters that affect your money. They also offer seminars to the community at no cost. If you're looking for a guest speaker for your church or civic organization, give them a call to discuss the topics you would like them to cover. Again, their contact number is 478-922-8100. Now, from the Macon studio of News Talk 940 WMAC, it's time for Your Money with Sherry Goss, Randy Goss, Jonathan Eisner, and Corey Albrecht.
Hello, everyone. It is great to be back this morning. This week's show is going to be a replay of our 4th of July show. Due to signal issues from the radio station, the show is not audible in some locations, so we're going to play it again. Before we start the show, I want to pass on some tragic news. Jonathan and Katie Eisner's 17-year-old son Gabriel, or Gabe, was in an accident on July 4th and fractured a vertebra in his neck and damaged his spinal cord. Currently, Gabe is hospitalized at Children's Healthcare of Atlanta and will soon be transferred to the Shepherd Center. Gabe and his family are facing a rough road ahead and need prayers and support. If you'd like to follow his progress or support the family, please visit supportnow.org and search Eisner. You should find the post for Gabriel, Gabe Eisner, and family. Now on to the show.
You know, 250 years ago, a radical idea was born in the heat of a Philadelphia summer. It was just a declaration of independence. It wasn't just a declaration of independence from a king. It was a declaration of independence for the individual.
Yep. When the Founding Fathers gathered in 1776, they did something no civilization had ever successfully done. They turned the ancient hierarchy upside down. They declared that your rights do not come from a government, a dictator, or a monarch. Your rights come directly from a higher power. Government is not the master, it is the servant. The founders built a constitutional fortress around that idea. They knew the greatest threat to human happiness is the concentration of power. So they divided it, they checked it, and they balanced it.
Yeah, and they did this to protect your right to think, to speak, to worship, and to build a life based on your own merit, your own character, and your own hard work. That's why the American dream still echoes across the world today. It's the simple, enduring promise that any individual, through determination and enterprise, can achieve success. It means economic mobility. It means freedom of expression. It means that your destiny is written by your own hands, not a bureaucrat.
But today, we must remember what makes this engine of liberty work. It runs on individual freedom and free enterprise, and that's exactly why philosophies like socialism and communism have no home on American soil. You see, America was built on the sanctity of the individual. Collectivism demands the supremacy of the state. Where America offers choice, communism demands central planning. Where America rewards achievement, socialism penalizes success and kills the incentive to innovate. Where America defines freedom as independence from the government, collectivism insists on the total dependence upon the government. And where America allows and encourages private property, collectivist ideologies want to abolish wealth and centralize control of production with the state. The American philosophy, socialism, and communism are oil and water, and they cannot mix.
Agreed. Is America perfect? No. Have we as a nation done everything right? Nope. Maybe I am naive, but I think that we still believe in this nation. I still believe that it is a beacon on the hill, which is why so many still want to come here. Our system has lifted so many people out of poverty and still provides tremendous opportunity if one is willing. On this 4th of July, we aren't just celebrating a date on a calendar. We're celebrating the greatest experiment in human history, a nation of free people, self-governed, self-reliant, and bound together by the unshakable truth that liberty is worth protecting.
Absolutely. So here's a very interesting bit of trivia on two of our founding fathers and the 4th of July. Let's go back to July 4th, 1826, 200 years ago today. The United States was celebrating its 50th anniversary as a nation, the Golden Jubilee. Parades filled the streets and bells ring across the country. But unbeknownst to most people, the last two giants of the American Revolution were lying on their deathbed, Thomas Jefferson and John Adams. 50 years earlier, these two men were the twin engines of independence. Adams was the roaring voice on the Congress floor, and Jefferson was the quiet genius who penned the Declaration. Together, they changed the world.
But as we know, politics is a brutal business, and we have witnessed this brutality ourselves over the last several years. Over the years, a bitter rivalry tore their friendship apart. They had not spoken to each other for several decades. Yet, in their old age, they did something remarkably American. They forgave each other. They started writing letters, healing their bond, and restoring a legendary friendship. By the summer of 1826, both men were fading fast. Medical history tells us they were hanging on to life by sheer willpower alone. They both had one final goal, to see the 50th anniversary of the nation that they had helped to build.
And at noon on the 4th of July, at his home in Virginia, Thomas Jefferson took his final breath. His very last words were a whisper asking, "Is it the 4th?" 600 miles away in Massachusetts, John Adams was slipping away too. He didn't know his old friend had just died a few hours earlier. As the sun began to set on Independence Day, Adams opened his eyes one last time and uttered his famous final words, "Thomas Jefferson lives."
When the news swept across the country that both men had died on the exact same day, which was the 50th anniversary of freedom, Americans didn't mourn. They were awestruck. They saw it as a divine sign, a sign that while the architects of freedom would eventually pass away, the golden dream of individual liberty that they created was meant to live forever. As you celebrate with your family this week, remember the bond of those two founders and the enduring dream that they left behind. From our airwaves to your home, happy 4th of July, everybody.
Happy 4th. All right, now we're going to highlight examples of what makes America great. These are but a few of the companies that were built by strong-willed people who had a vision, the willpower, and the fortitude to create something special. And in a lot of cases, I'm sure they never imagined the behemoths that they are today. These companies, all of which you've heard of, that were started from the ground up right here in America. So let's start with HP, Hewlett-Packard. I own at least 10 of their products, and they have long been known as a reliable brand for personal computers. Bill Hewlett and David Packard started the company in 1939, decades before the Americans worked on PCs. As a matter of fact, the first programmable digital computer was not completed until 1945, and not by them. Hewlett and Packard met while studying electrical engineering at Stanford University, and in 1939, they started building Depression-era tech gear in Palo Alto, California, in a garage with barely $500 in capital. To start, they created an oscillator to test ground equipment, and then the Walt Disney Company bought 8 of them to prep their movie theaters for their classical music film, Fantasia. During World War II, the young company collaborated with the Naval Research Laboratory to craft counter-radar technology and artillery shell detonators. In 1950, HP introduced high-speed frequency counters, technology that helped FM radio stations and television broadcasters set their signal frequencies. Then, in 1957, they went public. and the shares sold for just $16 apiece. And a string of complex but consequential inventions followed, including the atomic clock in 1964, and I think we've all heard of that, capable of synchronizing time within a millionth of a second. And then they created light-emitting diodes in 1966, and that's a technology better known as the LED. And in the late 1960s and early 70s, HP rolled out pioneering desktops and pocket calculators, and I own those too, just a newer model. And then in 1980, HP introduced its first personal computer. The company's early PCs met with failure, largely because of incompatibility with the dominant IBM PC. But Hewlett-Packard did much better with computer printers. In 1980, the HP LaserJet became the most popular laser printer in the country. And in 1994, HP built the first all-in-one office device capable of printing, faxing, and copying. Hewlett-Packard's computer business eventually rebounded, and in 1997, HP joined the elite Dow Jones Index. In 2015, the old HP technically ceased to exist, and the company split into two, HP Inc. for PCs and printers, and Hewlett-Packard Enterprises for business services. And in 2007, the Palo Alto garage, where they had started, was listed on the National Register of Historic Places as the birthplace of Silicon Valley.
That's a great one. I love starting these off with that story. That's very cool because nobody would ever know any of this stuff. I mean, everybody knows about Jeff Bezos, who we'll talk about, Mark Zuckerberg, who we'll talk about, but Hewlett-Packard starting in 1939 by a couple guys.
Before computers were ever.
And that wasn't even their main business.
That's right. And we all think of them as computers.
Right.
So.
A very cool story. Next up, with only $100, Seattle teenagers Jim Casey and Claude Ryan started American Messenger Company in 1907. This is another cool one. Delivering messages on foot and by bike. By 1919, the company had changed its name to United Parcel Service, was making deliveries outside of Seattle, and had painted its delivery cars the iconic brown that it is known for today.
You know, until we prepped for the show, I had no idea that UPS started that long ago.
Same here. From the 1930s to the early 70s, UPS expanded its reach across the U.S., first to New York and Chicago, and by 1975, it became the first package delivery company to serve every address in the continental U.S. By 1985, UPS had introduced its next day air service, making it the first delivery company to have an air delivery network for every address in the U.S. and in Puerto Rico. The company launched its airline division in 1988. The next year, it was delivering across the Americas, Europe and Middle East, Africa, and the Pacific Rim. By the early 2000s, UPS had expanded into the retail space, creating the UPS Store, and in the late 2010s brought expanded Saturday services. Since 2020, UPS has become more than just a delivery company, but is rapidly expanding into the global healthcare logistics industry. In addition to being one of the companies that initially connected the United States from coast to coast, UPS is one of the largest employers of unionized workers across the country.
You know, it's that innovation and entrepreneurial spirit that's doing all this. That's the theme you're going to hear throughout the show.
That's right.
Now for the story of a fast food giant. Though McDonald's was founded in 1940 as a drive-in restaurant with car hops as waitresses, it was the 1948 reinvention as a walk-up self-service restaurant selling 15-cent hamburgers that would turn McDonald's into a fast food icon. The emphasis was on fast, cheap food. Founding brothers Richard and Maurice McDonald already had established several franchises when milkshake mixer salesman Ray Kroc was introduced to McDonald's and decided to open a franchise. With the goal of expanding nationwide, an origin story later depicted in the movie The Founder, Kroc would later buy the McDonald's name and concept from the brothers and continue its transformation into a global fast food empire.
Phenomenal.
Known for its golden arches, Ronald McDonald mascot, and Big Macs, the chain has come to epitomize the fast food industry. It has continued to innovate, introducing drive-through service, self-service kiosks, and mobile ordering. The vast majority of chains, more than 40,000 restaurants, are franchised, and more than 2 million people work in McDonald's restaurants worldwide. McDonald's was instrumental in opening the first Ronald McDonald House in Philadelphia. The houses offer free lodging and meals to families of children undergoing treatment at nearby hospitals. McDonald's continues to support Ronald McDonald Houses through donations and fundraising events.
Yeah, I don't know about you guys, but I have fond memories of burger runs from high school and hanging out with friends at Mickey D's. Back then, even a high school kid could afford to go out to eat there, take your girlfriend out, milkshake and french fries.
The dollar menu has changed a little bit.
For sure.
But
So now it's, I think, just called the value menu.
yeah.
$5 for everything on it. The origin of story of Facebook reads like the account of a brash college student who made news for the wrong reasons. Mark Zuckerberg created a website in 2003, filled it with hacked photos from online Harvard House Facebooks, and launched a hot or not game for rating students. The site was swiftly shuttered, not surprisingly. The next year, however, Zuckerberg and 3 co-founders launched The Facebook, a site where Harvard students could populate their own web pages. The Facebook spread to other elite universities, and within months, Zuckerberg had left Harvard to work on Facebook full-time. By year's end, The Facebook, I keep calling it The Facebook because that's what it was called, had 1 million users. Remember MySpace? When Facebook reached the 1 million mark, its social media rival MySpace had 5 million users. But Facebook would soon leave MySpace in the dust. Gradually, Zuckerberg introduced the features that would get Facebook users addicted. The news feed, the wall, tagging friends in photos, and the like button. Do you guys remember, Corey, you probably, I don't even know if you're on Facebook, but there used to be a poke too.
Yes.
When you friended somebody, you could poke them. I don't know if that's even still a thing, but Facebook expanded to high schools in 2005. By the next year, anyone 13 or over could join. Facebook was no longer an exclusive club, but it was a popular one. Facebook continued to expand, buying the photo-heavy Instagram in 2012. Facebook went public that same year, the largest tech IPO in history at the time. By the end of 2012, Facebook had 1 billion users. And I don't think that it's in here, but I remember the Facebook IPO was something like $38.
It was about that.
And today, I don't think they've done any splits. The price for a Meta share is like $6.12, $6.15, something like that. So pretty good since 2012 to 2026. Pretty good ROI there. In 2014, Facebook bought the messaging app WhatsApp for $19 billion, and Zuckerberg made a big push for virtual reality. In 2017, Facebook hit 2 billion active users. In 2018, Instagram reached 1 billion users. In 2021, Facebook changed its brand to Meta, reflecting vague ambitions around creating a metaverse. Today, Facebook boasts more than 3 billion regular users. According to Pew Research, roughly 7 in 10 American adults use the service. It's the company that introduced friending and unfriending into the national conversation.
Yep. And, so Facebook, no doubt, is a huge success. It is one of those items that businesses need to have. And Instagram and LinkedIn as well. It's really quite amazing how entrenched these platforms are into people's everyday lives and their businesses. And it all started with a simple idea and a vision.
So you think about 3 billion users on Facebook.
Oh, yeah.
3 billion is dadgum near half of the world, right? Because there's 8 billion people on the planet, supposedly.
Yep.
And you got 3 billion of them on Mark Zuckerberg's Hot or Not program that he started in his college dorm.
And it says active users.
Right.
So it's not just people who made
Casual.
accounts.
Yeah.
They're saying 3 billion people
Currently using it.
currently on
Pretty-
it or
pretty
regularly
insane.
checking.
Yep. All right, shifting gears here. These days, the Tesla brand is synonymous with Elon Musk. And as you know, he is the world's richest person, and he'll tell you that. But it wasn't always so. Tesla's founders were a couple of engineers, Martin Eberhard and Mark Tarpenning, who set out to build an electric sports car. They started the company in 2003 and named it after Nikola Tesla, the Serbian-American inventor known for his work with electricity. Musk joined the venture in 2004, contributing funding from the wealth he had amassed as the co-founder of PayPal. He stepped in as the chairman, and I believe people forget that he was one of the creators of PayPal too.
I think that is easy to forget because of everything that's happened for him since.
That's right. Well, over the next few years, Musk proved himself an ace fundraiser, helping to secure capital from the likes of Google co-founder Sergey Brin and Larry Page. The first prototype, the Tesla Roadster, arrived in 2006, attracting celebrity customers like George Clooney. After many delays, the Tesla Roadster finally emerged in early 2008, and it could go roughly 245 miles on a charge, and that was unheard of back then for an electric car. So It went 0 to 60 in less than 4 seconds, and it could hit a top speed of 125 miles per hour. And its price tag was just over $100,000. In late 2008, the dawning of the Great Recession, Musk stepped in as the CEO, and then in 2010, he took Tesla public. And a little known fact is that Tesla was the first automaker to join the American stock market since Ford. That's phenomenal. The company's attention shifted to the Model S, a mass-produced sedan hailed by the automotive press. And then in 2012, Tesla began installing charging stations across the United States and Europe. A low-cost Tesla, the Model 3, launched in 2017 with a price tag of around $35,000, and it became the best-selling electric car in history. Now, most Americans know the rest of the story. In 2025, Musk joined the second Trump administration, fracturing Tesla's customer base. And it's kind of funny that Teslas could be seen with bumper stickers that read, "I bought this before Elon Musk went crazy" on the back window. Whatever Musk's flaws, Tesla is a member of the stock market's storied Magnificent Seven, credited for the company that drove EVs into the American mainstream. And it is truly a great story.
Don't quote me on this, but I saw something after the recent IPO with SpaceX, which turned Musk into the first trillionaire, right? We've all seen that. There was something I read or saw that said that, and this was right out of the gate when the IPO had gone from initially $135 to up to over $200, and the company was worth close to $3 trillion at one point in time. And the statistics said something like Elon Musk could lose $1 trillion of value and still have more money than Warren Buffett. And it's like,
absolutely,
wow, man, geez, okay.
Yep.
All right, so Musk is certainly looked at as an icon at this juncture, and he has no doubt accomplished a lot, and he's not even that old.
That's right.
So he may do so much more before it's said and done. So
think SpaceX.
Like SpaceX, for exactly. I mean, how old is Musk? He can't be more than 55.
Something like that.
Yeah. When a pair of entrepreneurs founded Netflix in 1997, their goal was to provide an alternative to the ubiquitous Blockbuster. I loved Blockbuster.
I did too.
Blockbuster, founded in 1985, was the well-known and massive nationwide chain of video rental stores, and at its peak, there were 9,100 locations. Netflix offered an intriguing alternative. You would select movies and television shows from their vast library and receive them by mail. There were none of the Blockbuster's infamous late fees. You simply returned the disc when you were done, and Netflix mailed a new one. Netflix launched a website in 1998 and a subscription service in 1999, allowing unlimited rentals for a monthly fee. In 2000, the company began using algorithms to recommend titles to its customers. In 2002, Netflix went public. The Netflix that we know today emerged in 2007 with a streaming service that allowed subscribers to watch any Netflix content at any time. Those familiar red Netflix envelopes became fewer and fewer, and the last ones, this was surprising to me, the last ones were shipped out in 2023. I didn't think that they were still shipping discs as recently as 3 years ago, but they were. Blockbuster was a casualty of Netflix and of streaming in general. By 2019, only one Blockbuster store remained. In 2013, Netflix rolled out original content, ushering in a structural change in the television and film industry. Over the years, producers increasingly pitched their projects to streaming services rather than to traditional studios. Big Netflix series include The Crown, Stranger Things, and Squid Game. Netflix once dominated the streaming industry with a 68% market share in 2010. By 2018, its share had dwindled to 27%. Today, Netflix arguably leads the streaming industry, but it no longer dominates. According to one Pew Research survey, 72% of adults watch Netflix programming, while 67% watch rival Amazon Prime. In 2025, Netflix flexed its muscles, announcing it would buy Warner Brothers Discovery, giving the streaming titan control of an iconic film studio.
Yep.
Very cool story.
Good story. All right, let's shift over to Home Depot. More savings, more doing. That's the power of Home Depot. That was Home Depot's iconic 2000 slogan. Now, with the tagline, "How doers get more done," the Home Depot is known for its selection of do-it-yourself and professional building supplies, and those recognizable orange aprons. Back in 1978, Bernie Marcus and Arthur Blank co-founded the Home Depot with two ideas that would set the retailer apart from traditional hardware stores: Stores would employ knowledgeable staff capable of guiding customers through their projects, and locations would be large warehouse style spaces selling far more products than its competitors. The Home Depot positioned itself as a one-stop shop for customers, whether they were building a coffee table, furnishing a home, or landscaping a backyard. And it worked. People love the Home Depot concept. Headquartered in Atlanta, the Home Depot has locations in all 50 states. Today, the company's commitment to educating customers continues. On the first Saturday of every month, locations host free in-store workshops for kids, with projects this year ranging from leprechaun mailboxes to go-karts. And since 2011, the Home Depot Foundation and the retailer's nonprofit arm has focused a lot on giving to veteran-related initiatives. According to the company, the foundation has invested more than $600 million in veterans' causes. It has pledged to increase that investment to $750 million by 2030. The foundation has also committed $50 million to its Path to Pros program, which aims to train the next generation of skilled tradespeople.
Shifting from a company that supplies the creation of a home, let's talk about a company that helps maintain the people within your home. Procter & Gamble has succeeded in becoming a routine part of Americans' mornings, laundry days, and first stages of parenting. Founded in 1837 by brother-in-laws William Procter, a candle maker, and James Gamble, a soap maker, the company began naturally as a candle and soap business. Both were immigrants who settled in Cincinnati, Ohio. During the U.S. Civil War, the Union Army relied on Procter & Gamble to supply candles and soap to its troops. In 1879, the company introduced Ivory soap, which became known as the soap that floats.
I used to love that when I was a kid.
And it was one of the company's best sellers. By the middle of the 20th century, Procter & Gamble cultural impact was evident. Its sponsorship of widely viewed radio and TV dramas is a reason such programming are still referred to as soap operas today. Over time, it launched a vast range of self-care, cleaning, and household products, including Crest toothpaste, Tide detergent, and Pampers diapers. Following other product launches and acquisitions, it's also the company behind Gillette razors, VapoRub, Cascade detergent, Febreze, the Mr. Clean Magic Eraser, and Swiffer Wet Jets, among other globally recognized brands. In 2021, Procter & Gamble responded to climate concerns by setting ambitious targets to achieve net zero greenhouse gas emissions across its supply chain operations by 2040. Today, Procter & Gamble products are sold in approximately 180 countries around the world, and the company has operations in 70 countries. Its headquarters remains in Cincinnati, Ohio, where it all began.
You've been listening to Your Money, brought to you by Lifespan Wealth Management, proudly serving Middle Georgia for over 30 years. Our mission? Helping folks just like you plan for a secure and stress-free retirement. Need a trusted financial advisor? Call us today at 478-922-8100 and schedule your complimentary consultation at our Macon or Warner Robins office. Want to learn more? Visit us anytime at retirerelax.com. Because when you plan smart, you can retire and relax. And here's something extra. We offer free educational seminars for the community. If your group needs a guest speaker, give us a call and let's make it happen. That's 478-922-8100. Now, let's get back to the show.
All right, let's shift gears from inside your home right into your garage. Known for its wide offering of vehicles and its core brand, including Chevrolet, GMC, Buick, Cadillac, General Motors, is one of the largest manufacturers in the world, and its origins can be traced all the way back to the late 19th century when Durand Dort Carriage Company had William Crapo Durant at the helm. As a leading carriage manufacturer who had been asked to oversee general management at Buick, Durant created General Motors in 1908. The company's early holdings consisted solely of the Buick Motor Company, but it would expand rapidly into the following year. With loyal customers already in the United States, General Motors opened its first assembly plant outside of North America in Copenhagen. And soon after that, it added brands including the UK's Vauxhall, Germany's Opel, Australia's Holden to its portfolio. By 1933, General Motors had operations in more than 17 countries. Fast forward to the 90s, when the company launched OnStar, the first in-vehicle communication system connecting drivers to emergency assistance and directions before the smartphone era. During that decade, General Motors also unveiled the Impact. Many people have never heard of this, but it's a two-seater electric concept car. And that's before hybrid and electric cars became mainstream. Today, the company sells cars to customers around the world with major presence in the United States, China, Brazil, Canada, and Mexico. And its top sellers range from the trucks like the Chevrolet Silverado and the GMC Sierra to SUVs like the Tahoe Suburban to luxury cars from the Cadillac Escalade and Corvette. So, good story.
Many successful companies are built around a great product, but some become successful because they never lose sight of the people they serve. The story of Chick-fil-A and how its founder, S. Truett Cathy, a man who believed that lasting success came from serving others with excellence, integrity, and generosity, created a fast food staple. Truett Cathy began his business journey in 1946 when he and his brother opened a small restaurant near Atlanta called the Dwarf Grill. Years of serving customers taught him an important lesson. People would always remember how they were treated. In the early 1960s, after experimenting with pressure cooking chicken, he created the chicken sandwich that would eventually become the centerpiece of Chick-fil-A. Rather than trying to offer everything, Cathy focused on doing one thing exceptionally well and delivering it with consistent quality. As the business expanded, Cathy took a different path than many fast food chains. Instead of opening as many restaurants as possible, he emphasized careful growth and strong local leadership. Chick-fil-A became known for selecting dedicated owner-operators who would treat each restaurant as if it were their own. That philosophy helped create a consistency from one location to the next and build a reputation for friendly service that customers came to expect. One of the company's most recognizable traditions is remaining closed on Sundays. Cathy believed that both employees and operators deserved one day each week to rest, spend time with family, or focus on their personal lives. Many business experts questioned the decision, yet Chick-fil-A continued to grow into one of the most successful restaurant chains in America while staying true to that principle. Education and leadership development were also passions of Truett Cathy. The company has awarded millions of dollars in scholarships to employees over the years, helping thousands of students continue their education while building valuable workplace skills. Many former Chick-fil-A employees credit their experience with teaching them responsibility, leadership, and customer service, lessons that have benefited them long after leaving the company. Cathy also believed businesses should strengthen the communities around them. Local Chick-fil-A restaurants regularly partner with schools, youth organizations, food banks, and charities while stepping up during natural disasters and community emergencies to provide meals and support. That commitment to serving others has remained part of the company's culture for decades. Perhaps S. Truett Cathy's greatest achievement wasn't simply creating one of America's most recognizable restaurant brands, it was demonstrating that leadership is measured by the lives you influence. The values he established continue to shape how thousands of employees serve customers, support one another, and give back to communities every single day. His story reminds us that a lasting legacy isn't built overnight. It's built one decision, one act of kindness, and one opportunity at a time. Long after the first chicken sandwich was served, the principles behind it continue to inspire businesses and individuals to lead with purpose and serve others well.
Chick-fil-A, a couple things about it. It at least 10 years ago, and it still really does this, but it really is a different experience than other fast food restaurants.
It is. Yep.
You know, the food feels like it's of higher quality, but also for people to actually treat you respectfully, they bring the food to your table when you're waiting on it, ask you, is there anything else I can get for you? It's just a different experience for a fast food restaurant, and they have set themselves apart.
And a lot of people really do interpret wrong that the reason they're closed on Sunday. I went to church with the Cathys in Jonesboro, Georgia, and he did not close it for religious reasons. It's about having time with your family and all the employees needing that down day, just like we talked about.
Got it.
So
good to know. All right, Jeff Bezos. He opened Amazon in the mid-1990s as an online bookstore. I remember when Amazon was just a bookstore, which operated out of his Bellevue, Washington garage. How many businesses started in somebody's garage?
So many.
Man.
So many.
By 1995, Amazon books were sold to readers in all 50 states and in 45 countries. Amazon's revenues gradually increased as the 1990s progressed, which allowed the company to tap into other spaces. Amazon opened a music store in 1998 and a video store in November of the same year. Amazon's product line grew out of Bezos' garage and into warehouses known as fulfillment centers. The company opened 4 centers in 1999, while also adding toy and consumer electronics stores. Amazon Marketplace, where third-party sellers could offer their new and used products online, launched in November of 2000. Some of the features that would boost Amazon's popularity were born just after the turn of the century, like Amazon Prime. The service now has more than 200 million subscribers worldwide. Amazon Web Services, which consists of cloud computing technology used by some of the world's largest companies, was launched in 2006. With AWS, Amazon provided businesses with a way to keep their data stored securely and accessible remotely. While seeing continuous growth in the 2010s, Amazon selected a second company headquarters site in Arlington, Virginia. The office complex is expected to bring in 25,000 jobs by 2030. Amazon has formed several key corporate partnerships in recent years, including Whole Foods Market and AI firm Anthropic. The collaboration with Whole Foods has allowed Amazon to put forward new innovations in brick-and-mortar stores.
Yep, good story. Apple, let's talk about them. Apple was founded in 1976 by Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak, who both wanted to make computers small enough to allow people to have them in their homes and offices. And by 1984, the pair had introduced its first Macintosh computer. Following Jobs' departure from Apple in 1985, Apple continued developing Macintosh computers and posted its highest profits yet in 1990 before it began to decline, facing competition from Microsoft. Apple, in need of an operating system, bought out Next Software, a company founded by Jobs after he left in 1997. Jobs, serving as the interim chief operating officer for Apple, accepted an aid package from Microsoft, which agreed to invest $150 million in Apple and jointly develop technologies and expand software available for Macintosh computers. The 2000s marked a period of growth for Apple. They launched the Mac OS X operating system, iTunes, and the iPad, and opened the first retail stores. In 2007, Apple announced the iPhone, which now is considered one of the most significant developments. In a news release, Jobs described the iPhone as revolutionary and a magical product, and that's 5 years ahead of other mobile phones. 10 years after the announcement, Time said the iPhone had laid the foundation for the modern smartphone. Following Jobs' resignation and death in 2011, the company continued announcing new products under Tim Cook, who is named CEO. Under Cook's direction, Apple was transformed from a $350 billion tech darling into the massive $4 trillion global powerhouse that we know today. His vision and determination to make something better was on full display. Although he was not the founder of Apple, his name is cemented in history for his masterful logistics, financial discipline, and ecosystem expansion of Apple. Although he is, in essence, he works for a board of directors, he displayed that entrepreneurial spirit as if he owned the company.
So I'm glad these two are together, Amazon and then Apple, right on the heels of each other, because in my lifetime, those are the two most, probably of this whole show, those are the two ones that I can tangibly attest. I can attest the growth and the way these two companies changed the world as we knew it. Yep. You rewind 30 years to 1996, before Amazon and certainly before the iPhone, where it's like, oh, we need laundry detergent or we need X. You had to get in your car and go to the store and go up and down the aisles and battle other customers. And now you can sit on your couch on your iPhone, and get on Amazon and purchase almost literally anything under the sun. And it's going to be on your, and I do too. And it's going to be on your doorstep 2 days later. Absolutely. It's just unbelievable. And we take it, I don't know if take it for granted is the right word, but it's just kind of the norm now.
It's changed our life.
And you rewind 30 years ago, it was very, very different. Or even 20 years ago, really, it was very different.
Next up, Dr. John S. Pemberton, an Atlanta pharmacist, didn't know in 1886 that his newly created caramel-colored syrup mixed with carbonated water would revolutionize the beverage industry and change the way the world drinks. Since then, the Atlanta-based company has become a global brand, expanding beyond soft drinks. The company has more than 200 brands worldwide. including sports drinks, alcoholic beverages, bottled water, and breakfast juice. With its 1960 purchase of Minute Maid. In 2019, the pop giant entered the coffee market with the purchase of Costa Limited. Pemberton originally created his elixir as a medical tonic. Earlier versions contained cocoa leaf extract, which contains small amounts of cocaine, according to Britannia Money. The cocaine was removed from Coca-Cola's formula in about 1929. Its famous script logo and its name came from Pemberton's bookkeeper, Frank Robinson. It was originally sold as a fountain drink. The idea to bottle it came from two Tennessee lawyers who in 1899 wanted to capitalize on its popularity. Its iconic contoured bottle was inspired by the elongated shape of the cocoa bean, which has long vertical striations. The first Coca-Cola bottle went into production in 1916. The shape garnered many nicknames, including the Mae West bottle after the famous actress's figure. The bottle became an iconic piece of Americana, but the company couldn't escape the 1980s Cola Wars, the Pepsi Challenge, which gave Coca-Cola a run for its money. Part of the problem was with the success of the Pepsi Challenge was that Coke had fallen into a malice as a brand, says David Grazing, author of I'd Like the World to Buy a Coke, The Life and Leadership of Robert Goizueta, in a History.com article. People in love with the notion of Coca-Cola, but they weren't necessarily drinking Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola responded in April 1985 by changing its original formula. It didn't go over well with the customer. Less than 3 months later, the Coca-Cola company returned with the original formula, dubbed Coke Classic. Funny story about this was that the chain, they did a blind test and the participants preferred the taste of the new recipe more than Classic, but the idea that it had been changed was more important than the actual flavor.
Right.
Coca-Cola holds approximately 40% of the global non-alcoholic beverage market, and its most popular drink remains Coca-Cola Classic, according to investing.com. So just like its 1991 campaign, you can't beat the real thing.
Great slogan.
After starting Walton's Five and Dime in the 1950s, Sam Walton opened the first Walmart in 1962 in Rogers, Arkansas. 5 years later, it had grown to 24 stores across the state. Walmart has used a number of different slogans over the years, including Our People Make the Difference, All American Savings, Always, Better Every Day, and Save Money, Live Better, which I think is currently their slogan, isn't it? Save Money, Live Better?
I've lost track.
In 1970, Walmart became a publicly traded company, and its stock sold at $16.50 a share. Since then, Walmart has gone through 12 stock splits. If you had reinvested all dividends, one share of Walmart stock purchased for $16.50 in 1970 would be worth over $600,000 today.
Fantastic.
Man. Randy, did you buy a share of Walmart in 1970?
I was not even thinking about stocks back then.
$600,000.
Right.
The 70s were a pivotal decade for the company as it had 51 stores, aired its first TV commercial, and opened its first pharmacy. By 1980, Walmart was faster than any company to hit $1 billion in annual sales and had 276 stores with 21,000 employees. The company opened its first Sam's Club in Midwest City, Oklahoma in 1983, and it opened the first Walmart Supercenter in Washington, Missouri in 1988. Already a national brand, Walmart exploded in the 90s and began using its now iconic star logo. It was also the decade when it had its first $1 billion sales week and opened stores in China and the UK. It was also the decade when the company lost its founder, Sam Walton, who died in 1992. In the 2000s, Walmart topped the Fortune 500 ranking of America's largest companies with roughly 4,000 stores and more than 1 million employees. It also entered the Japanese market and got rid of the squiggly line and added the spark to the logo. Recently, the company has expanded home delivery with investments in drone delivery and autonomous vehicles.
Yep. All right, so let's bring this a little closer to home. There's a company right here in Warner Robins, Georgia, that is a success story like the others. Maybe not on the scope of a Walmart or a Dell computer, but a tremendous success nonetheless. That company is Otoban. Steve Davidson is the owner, and he did not pay us to do this. Steve Davidson is the owner, and he has built a multi-million-dollar company through hard work, vision, and the entrepreneurial spirit that we're trying to stress today. Steve's dad was in the intelligence business with the United States military, and his family moved a lot. And while the family was stationed in Berlin before the Berlin Wall was torn down, he had looked east into Berlin at the bleak landscape of silent streets, armed guards, and dogs, and lots of bombed-out buildings. This was a stark contrast to the bustling city in the west side of Berlin. He says it was like watching a black and white movie to the east and a color movie to the west. What a picture that paints. At that moment, he vowed to take advantage of the opportunities he was given. After living most of his childhood abroad, Steve's family finally settled in Warner Robins, Georgia, and he graduated from Northside High School. He worked in a print shop. Then he was hired as a contractor for the Central of Georgia line of Southern Railway. Steve's entrepreneurial spirit won out. While employed at the railroad, he tried several different side hustles. He started the first detail shop for car dealers in Warner Robins, a car wholesale company, followed by investing in a cabinet business, and then the first leasing car company called Atlantic Leasing. And you can imagine how hard it was to sell people on the concept of leasing a car in 1976, especially right here in Middle Georgia. The concept was definitely ahead of its time. All of those ventures were valuable lessons in the art of business. As those different businesses didn't pan out, Steve opened Mobile Wash of America, the first pressure washing operation in Middle Georgia at the age of 24. This is where he found his early success and quickly expanded into duct, hood vent, and chimney cleaning. The cleaning business led to the expansion of janitorial cleaning, which included serving nursing homes. Steve soon had multiple crews serving the Middle Georgia area. Business was booming, but the cleaning products they used were difficult to handle. See, they were difficult to handle because in the early days, they had 55-gallon drums of cleaning chemicals that weighed 500 to 700 pounds apiece. One day, while offloading a drum of degreaser from the tractor trailer, and you had to do that by bouncing the drum off the back of the truck onto a tire laid flat on the ground to soften the landing. One day, the seam burst on the 55-gallon drum, and he was covered head to toe with degreaser. That was his eureka moment. He saw that opportunity in the face of a small disaster, an opportunity to do things better. He wondered why a super concentrate could not be made to do the same amount of work, but reduced to a 5-gallon bucket. Steve contacted a friend named Corey Hammock, a local chemist. The two spent months brainstorming on this concept. The nursing home market needed a product that they could get rid of odors from bedpans to soiled linens to colostomy bags, and the cancer smell itself associated with patients' rooms was an entirely different category unto itself. Many trials testing Oban on baby diapers were conducted. I'm glad I wasn't there for that. Well, Corey gave Steve the formula to make the first batch and promptly left town on a business trip. This was before cell phones and answering machines. And Steve took the raw materials home and poured them all into his bathtub. After many hours of stirring the materials together, it became apparent that this was not going to work. Unbeknownst to Steve, the raw materials had to be mixed in a specific order. The first raw materials had to be added to the second raw materials, and then you had to add that to the third, and so on. Once Corey returned, and after coaching Steve on the proper techniques, the first batch of Odoban was made right here in Warner Robins on American Boulevard. Now, Odoban employs over 100 people and is used globally.
Very cool.
Now for a business that started about 2 hours away from where I grew up. Many successful businesses are remembered for the products they sell or the profits they generate. Every once in a while, a company becomes known for something much bigger, the way it treats people. That is the story of Publix and its founder, George W. Jenkins, better known as Mr. George. George Jenkins began his grocery career during the Great Depression, where he learned that people wanted more than just a place to buy food. They wanted to be treated with kindness and respect. In 1930, he opened the first Publix supermarket in Winter Haven, Florida, with a simple goal: create a store where both customers and employees genuinely enjoyed being. As Publix expanded throughout the Southeast, Jenkins built the company around one core belief: employees were the foundation of the business. Long before the employee ownership became widely discussed, he gave associates the opportunity to own stock in the company. Over the years, many employees who started in entry-level positions built substantial retirement savings and lifelong careers through Publix. His philosophy was simple: when employees are valued, they take better care of customers, and everyone benefits. That culture continues to define Publix today. Many customers have experienced employees walking them directly to a product instead of simply pointing them down an aisle, helping load groceries into vehicles, or taking extra time to assist someone in need. Those small acts of service reflect a company culture that began with George Jenkins nearly a century ago. Jenkins also believed that successful business should strengthen the communities they serve. Throughout his life, he quietly supported schools, hospitals, churches, youth organizations, and charitable causes. Rather than seeking recognition, he focused on helping others whenever he could. That spirit of generosity became part of Publix itself. Today, Publix continues that legacy through food donations, disaster relief, educational support, volunteer efforts, and partnerships with local charities. Whether helping communities recover from hurricanes or donating food to families facing hardships, the company has maintained its commitment to giving back. Perhaps George Jenkins' greatest contribution was proving that treating people well and building a successful business are not opposing goals. By investing in employees, emphasizing expectational customer service, and supporting local communities, Publix grew from a single grocery store into one of the largest employee-owned companies in the United States. George Jenkins passed away in 1996, but his values continue to influence the company every day. His story serves as a reminder that lasting success is often built on simple principles. Respect your employees, serve your customers with genuine care, and never forget the communities that support your business. While many companies are measured by their financial success, the legacy of George Jenkins shows that a business can also be measured by opportunities it creates, people it serves, and the positive impact it leaves behind. Nearly a century after opening its first store, his vision continues to benefit employees, customers, and the communities across the Southeast.
Good story. These are but a few of the great companies that are just great success stories. There were many, many more that we could probably have done a 3-hour show and still probably not covered them in a satisfactory manner. America has a rich history of people who possess that entrepreneurial spirit. These companies have one thing in common. They employ a lot of people. I did a tally of just Walmart, Coca-Cola, Meta, Tesla, GM, and found that these 5 enterprises employ a whopping 4.575 million people. Walmart alone employs 2.1 million. Coca-Cola, almost 66,000 people. Meta, almost 80. Tesla, 135,000. General Motors, 156,000. Not only have they brought us products that we like to use and have made our life simpler and more enjoyable, they provide the opportunity to work and earn a living. Each of the entrepreneurs that succeeded did not get there just by coming up with a great idea. It took lots of work, determination, and a few hard knocks along the way until they, like Mr. Davidson, had that eureka moment and the pieces all suddenly fit together.
Yeah, Zuckerberg could have given up when his first website was, shut down, but he didn't. For each of those entrepreneurs that succeeded, many others failed. We all probably know someone who had a good idea, but it just never took off, or they did not have the financial backing to get it off the ground. The reason doesn't matter. The point is that we live in a country that allows us the opportunity to work hard, build something, and reap the rewards from those efforts. And sometimes that can take decades to materialize. But that opportunity is what sets us apart from so many other countries. No, we're not perfect as a nation. None of us are. But some want to shred our Declaration of Independence for a new form of government. Well, it's not so new, and we know what it is. But don't let anyone ever tell you that what we have here in the United States is not special. That great experiment is still worth the effort.
Yep. Now, let's jump back to Thomas Jefferson and John Adams, the 2 men who blazed the trails that became America. They, for whatever reason, and the reasons don't really matter, became rivals after being friends. Decades passed, but they finally buried that hatchet and not in each other's head. So, on this 4th of July, we hope that you find peace in your home, and maybe you can reconnect with old friends or maybe an old family member that you should have reconnected with a long time ago. Life's too short. Anyway, from our house to yours, from all of us at Lifespan Wealth Management, we wish you a great 4th of July celebration. Be safe out there, and we will catch you next week.
Thanks for listening to Your Money, produced by Lifespan Wealth Management. As financial advisors, the main thing they do is provide retirement planning and advice and manage their clients' investment accounts. If you're looking for a financial advisor, please contact their office at 478-922-8100 to set up your complimentary consultation. You can learn more about them by visiting their website, retirerelax.com. And if you have a question or a topic that you would like them to cover in next week's broadcast, you can email Randy at rfmoney.com. They look forward to connecting with you next week. Have a great weekend, everyone. Securities and investment advisory services offered through Osaic Wealth Incorporated, member FINRA SIPC. Osaic Wealth is separately owned, and other entities and or marketing names, products, or services referenced here are independent of Osaic Wealth.